The immortal John Hancock here, and today I want to talk about a topic that might be a little controversial, and that's okay. All this talk recently about kind of the doom and gloom of collecting and high prices, I think there's a bigger topic to talk about, and is this right now the golden age of gaming? And I want people to think about this. So it's something that's been on my mind. It's something that I've thought about. And it really just blows my mind, how many different ways people can game now. It's amazing. It's amazing if you really think about it. We have, so many great options if you're a gamer. I mean, no matter what you're into. So if you're into like PC games, there's, good old games, there's Steam, there's, countless ways of playing old computer games. I mean, even just going off that by itself, it's easier than ever to play classic games. I mean, it's just like, if you don't have a system, no problem. There's tons of emulators out there. There's devices that emulate old hardware. Plus, not to mention, I mean, emulation is great, but we still live in an era where you can still acquire some of the original hardware. And so for purists out there, you can still find an original 2600. You can still find common games if you want to go that route. You can still find CRTs. It's getting harder, but you can go that route. And so, I bring up this topic for lots of reasons, because no matter what gaming you're into, it can be found. And if you want to go the original hardware route, and even the legal route, there's lots of options for you. I wish there was more legal options, and I've talked about that in the past. But there's many ways of gaming, and no matter what you're into. So, Nintendo with its re-releasing classics over and over again. But there's tons of hardware out there to play games. There's used game stores still around. There's conventions now popping up around the United States where you can go, and if you want to collect, physical hardware or software of a particular console or a classic computer, you can do that. You can go online if you just don't want to deal with anything physical. You can go the digital route, and there's tons of places that offer, software that you can play. I mean, I'm standing in a room with thousands of games. So if you're a collector like me and you've collected a long time, now's the time to play it. Now's the time to play it while it's still around, it's still working. I mean, that's another thing too. It's like a lot of this hardware still is working. And now's the time to enjoy it. Not 10 years from now, not 15 years from now. I mean, I hate having woulda, shoulda, couldas. And so for me, now's the time to like enjoy your collection or enjoy gaming. There's people that are still connected to these games that either program them or still alive, and so it's great to get those tidbits, the extra information. But when it comes down to gaming, I can't think of a better time than now. There's just countless ways to play games. There's new retro products coming out all the time. There's a ton of new retro products coming out in the future. You got the C64 Mini. You got the the Neo Geo coming out. At Games is coming out with a bunch of stuff, and there's Nintendo was going to announce probably a N64 Mini coming out. They got the PlayStation Classic. You have original hardware that you can find cheap. I mean, all this talk about the PlayStation Classic, I think people forget. You can get a PS3 used and play all the PS1 games on it. A lot of people still don't know that. Like, that's awesome. Or you can go the Wii route and play all the GameCube games. And I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And even just an Xbox One. Xbox One, you can play a lot of the good 360 games and some legacy original Xbox games. And I mean, there's just so many choices right now to game. If you put collecting aside, because I think sometimes, I love collecting. I love collecting, but I also love gaming. You know, if I had more time, I'd game a lot more, actually. I love classics. I love modern gaming. I've played everything. I try to at least experience something before I, give an opinion of it. And so I just want to encourage collectors and gamers that just to understand how special this time is that we live in now. You know, we have a lot of problems in our world. There's a lot of fighting and bickering, but to me, gaming is kind of like where we can all come together. And there's just countless ways to do that, whatever you're into. And I just love it. I mean, I really love this hobby that I'm a part of and this community. And there's just so many different ways where we can come together, and games and consoles. And it's just mind-boggling how many ways we can game, both old and new, and sometimes a bridge of old and new. And that's the other thing too, that there's a lot of products out there that can make original hardware even better, or special cables that can take original hardware and make it work on modern TVs. There's SD cards, multi-carts for original hardware that these hobbyist projects that are made to you can play every game of a particular console. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but really, what do you think? I want to have this talk and open it up for discussion. Do you think it is the golden age of gaming? And when it just comes down to gaming, do you think now is a time that is it better than it ever has been, and will be the best ever? I mean, we still have arcade machines still around. We still have a lot of original hardware. Stuff is starting to disappear a little bit, but it's not like the mainstream stuff yet. And so I think, for me, I think right now is a time to open up a game, to play a game, to celebrate, and just to have a good old time. So anyways, I know I've had this on my mind for a while, and I just think, with everything I've collected over the time, over about 30 years, and so 25 plus 26. I think I've been saying 25 a couple years now. I think now's the time to play. And so, what do you think? Comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did you have a favorite time period you thought? So some people, they look at a year and that's when gaming was the best. But for me, I kind of look at like the whole bigger picture, that there's many, many ways for mainstream people to just play games now. So yeah, thank you so much for everybody continuing to tune into my humble channel as I march towards 70,000 subs. And so I'm getting closer, and I want to thank everybody for continuing to tune in. And this was kind of a fun topic to bring up, and I'm sure there's going to be different opinions about it. So yeah, comment below. Love to hear from you. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and make sure you get notifications for upcoming videos. I do 3 videos a week. Thank you so much for people continuing to tune in to see Immortal John Hancock. Thank you, and you take care.